the timer is ticking away, and now it is. Qualifying for the Russian Grand Prix has begun. As a reminder, this is the second to last race of the season for PO23, and the championship battle has come down to 3 front runners at the moment. YSI technically in the lead. Can you guess by how much? A singular point. And if you add just another point, Slot 85 is there as well. So the top 3 drivers separated by 3 points in between all of them. It's anyone's game. Teammates might be a factor as well. So YSI is reliant on one thing, and one thing that is not usually something we'd mention or really think about. But Thax, the other Ferrari driver, who is his teammate, is very fast around Sochi. And there have been talks now, if YSI was to be in P2, that Thax would hand over the win for the cause of the championship. Now, that also still relies on getting to that position. There is some rain expected today. Intermediates will be seen as Gao is going side by side with the Alpine now through Sector 3, making their way back towards the front stretch. And hopefully one of them is going to set our first valid lap of this quali session. That's Dungeon with the 1:23.975, and Gao now starting his flying lap. So that was his out. Pedro was on his, hit the wall now. 2 invalidations. He's going to go around once he gets to the line, so we'll keep an eye on him. And Sot 85 puts in 2 purples. Now coming to the line is Sot. Is it going to be enough to take pole for now from Dungeon Fanatics? No, he invalidates in Sector 3, so he gets 2 very nice sectors. Thax, though, on the other hand, able to secure pole position with a 1:23.272. So good pace from him. Again, like I said, he's very, very strong around Sochi. Pedro on his way back out of the pits. Under 10 minutes to go in quali. And let me half screen this one and half screen that one so I can see both at the same time. You know, if I was a gambling man, this is one of the races that I would feel very unsure about who I'm putting my money on Kalshi. All right. This is not the race for those of you that enjoy prediction markets, because it is so up in the air. There's almost no way to tell who's going to win there. There are, again, drivers better than others here, and I think, again, Thax has proven that he's the best in the field around Sochi, but he's not really in the fight. So he was P4 in the championship. He had a chance last week if he had won around Monza, but he wasn't able to pull it off. So, Dungeon Fanatics, Sot and YSI. YSI yet to set a lap. Sot was on a good lap and bailed. We'll keep an eye on them as Thax crossing the line. Thax on a heater and receiving a tow from his teammate at the moment. If only that were a real thing. Alright. YSI on his lap at the moment as well. Yep. Cookie sets a 1:25.5. YSI somewhere through Sector 2. Pedro also making his way through Sector 2, so both of those drivers at the moment on a hot lap. Sot 85 sets a 28.7 in the first sector. Dungeon goes fastest, 1:23.195. Max, just so you know, you're not streaming.
Oh, yeah, because yeah, hold on.
Or hit the wrong button. So Dungeon on provisional pole with the 1:23.1. Can any of these drivers now break into the 1:22s? Keep an eye on that. YSI in Sector 3 at the moment, and he had an invalidation in 1, so maybe he's going to go around again. Nope, he's going to come into the pits. So, Thax coming around for another lap. Sot, there's the time we were expecting. 1:22.599 from the championship contender. So Sot setting the pace. Half a second up on Dungeon for now. Dungeon backtracking, getting ready to start his lap again as we're on board with Hyper now, making his way through the front straightaway. In Sector 1, DRS flies open, and the Aston Martin in the background behind him. That's Beastable there. Recently signed with Aston, now teammates with Gal, who's currently P5 at that 132. Sot exiting the pits, getting ready for another flying lap, now backtracking, and Dungeon starting his, so Dungeon through Sector 1. Y-Side coming out of the pits right now, so he's about to start his as well. Stax and Y-Side actually about to start there, so right now Dungeon's going to be the furthest up the road, then it'll be Sot, then Stax and Y-Side. Before to look out for here, great chance to set. Pedro as well, now on his flying lap. So those 5, Sot, Dungeon, Stax, Pedro, Y-Side, all on flying laps at the moment. That's Hyper, nearly being overtaken by Beastable. It's quality, guys, don't forget. And they act like they're racing out there, but Beastable's going to move ahead of Hyper through this lap, so showing good pace now is Beastable. Is he able to turn it into something across the line is the question. He's got 2 green sectors for now, of course, hasn't set a time, so he's not as fast as Sot, but as he comes to the line, where's it going to put him in the order? Beastable crosses, and he's P2. It's a great lap from him, almost into the 122s. Dungeon's going to be the next of the main drivers to cross the line. He's currently in Sector 3. Good lap from Beast, puts him on the front row for now. 5.5 minutes to go. Here comes Dungeon out of the final corner. On his way to the line. Is it enough to take pole? Yes, it is. 122.132. Dungeon Fanatics. 4/10 ahead. It's like he's in the Mercedes. Sot also on his lap. Pedro bailed from his. Sot's going to be the next to the line in terms of the championship front runners. Y-Side still on his lap as well as is Thax, but right now Sot out of 3. 116 into the front stretch again. Is he able to improve and snatch pole back from Dungeon Fanatics? No improvement from Sot. So he invalidates in 1 and then gets 2 purple sectors. So unfortunate for him. Thax crosses the line. He is currently still P4. Y-Side crosses. And he still has not set a time. Now going around again. So I thought he was on a flying lap. Looks like he's going to be going around again. This time he's got to make it count. Now inside 4.5 minutes. Bit of time over the curbing. Not what you want to see, especially around Sochi. That's Gal going very wide through Sector 3. Is he starting his flying lap? He's probably already invalidated and is just trying to get a very good entry here. And we'll see what he's able to post. Gal with the slowest time of anyone that's actually done a lap by 10 seconds right now. So he might be in an F2 card. This might be lore accurate Aston activities. Very surprised though. Pedro and Y-Side have not set a competitive lap yet. So what's going on there? Inside 4 minutes, they might be pushing so hard that they don't have time to really correct themselves. They've got to find a limit within the next 3.5 minutes. So Y-Side right now posts a green sector in 1 and 2. He's going to be into 3. The Scuderia, so the championship leader here, by a combined 1 point on the exit out of 3 coming to the line. He's just got to set a lap time. What's it going to be enough for? Nothing. So Y-Side under pressure now. He's got some pressure. 3 minutes to go. You've got to make the lap count. You don't even have a competitive time. Same goes for Pedro as well, but Pedro's got 2 greens. So Pedro right behind Dungeon there in the Mercedes.
Bunch of traffic.
Dungeon comes into the pits. Pedro goes around to the line. And Pedro is going to set P1! What a lap from the Mercedes driver! Signed 1 week ago. And the first driver to break into the 121.9s. That is enough for provisional pole, so a great lap there from the Brazilian. 2.5 minutes to go. And now there's pressure. There's real pressure. Sot! 2 purple sectors. He's got 1 more corner to go. Just picked it up. The Alpine coming to the line right now. Is this going to be enough to steal pole back from Pedro? He's coming to the line, and he's got it. He's got it by a country mile. Thanks now. P2. The Ferrari driver puts himself on the front row. Pedro going back for another run. And what is going on with Waisai? We still haven't seen him put in a lap. Now, he did set a 1:21.5 in his last time around, but he invalidated in the final sector, maybe a bit too wide on the exit or something of the sort. And invalidation in sector 3 is rarer than the first two.
He's been ahead.
And I'm not sure if he kept it clean through there. Hyper also on the lap, turning P8, Beastable on his own lap, improving as well. Beastable still currently P5, but the gap between Beast and Dungeon is almost a full second. So the top 4 right now distinguishing themselves, and then of course the gap between Dungeon and Sot, another full second. So definitely some skill gap going on here. But you've got time to improve. Y-side with 2 greens right now as he makes his way into Sector 3. So Y-side really only has time for this lap and one more. Because you have to cross the line, get out, reverse, cross the line before 0 seconds. That's the strat here. And as he makes his way to the line, what's it going to be for him? Nothing. He invalidated 3 again. There's only 1 minute to go. In quali, Waisai is going to be down to his very last lap. This is almost unbelievable with the context that this is for the championship. And yes, you can say quality ultimately does not matter that much in a no collision game, but it still does. Because if you're starting P10 on the grid, that's multiple tenths by the time you get into turn 1. And with how good these drivers are, that can be the difference between victory at the end of this race or defeat, especially with the changing weather conditions that are expected. So Waisai, under a ton of pressure, is he able to go get a lap started? He's got 15 seconds to come to the line here. He's going to be able to cross it. So he will start his lap. Crack Dev sets a green through Sector 1. Haven't seen a lap from him today. Crack Dev's got one chance as well to punch one in. That is good. Sot invalidated his first 2 sectors. He will not put another lap in. Neither will Thax. So Sot and Thax with their final times on the day. Waisai hits the curbing through Sector 1. He's still on a lap. Now he just has to get the time to be valid. I'm sure he can still set a 1:26 at minimum. Crack Dev through Sector 3. So let's keep an eye on Crack Dev here. He was on the front row in Monza. Now, he did mess up the entry into 3 a little bit, but we'll see as he makes his way to the line. Where is Crack Dev going to qualify? P6 for him. So, yep, some rear instability there. Maybe taking him out of the picture. So, Pedro, by the way, Pedro P3, Thax P2, and Sot P1 at the moment. Dungeon Fanatics is still on a lap. He was able to cross the line before the zeros. Missing some, I don't believe so. Dungeon's making his way around right now to the line. And Dungeon Fanatics currently P4 crosses and knocks out Pedro for 3rd position. So they're both still on the same row, but they just simply swapped. That lap will count. Crack drops to 7th. Beastable sits P6. Y-side P5. So, thank the maker if you are Y-side. He was able to get the lap off before the zeros, and he's put it on the 3rd row. So that is damage limitation to an extent after a 12-minute quali session where you only really had 1 lap that was even valid. So maybe some struggles there in 4 Y-side coming out of Sector 3. He invalidated multiple times, not something we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
That was not expected, bro.
Yep. But
what happened? No, Y-side. Why is he just parked on the track?
Where should we go? Grid?
What lap are you gonna set it to like what lap are you gonna change the ring to?
Well, once it starts out, I'm gonna set about to go to 40% on 510 in total, 510 seconds. So that's gonna be on lap 5. It's gonna go to 40.
You gonna start the ring immediately when the race starts?
Yeah, it's still gonna be high or somewhat high
Until 5.
That's how the weather is. Is it too for yes?
Chips. What'd you say?
They are an entos.
I mean, you have the weather at 14%.
Yeah, I don't know.
Reminder of the implications of this race with the 3-point difference between the top 3 drivers. Soft qualifies on pole. He's going to be the blue Alpine. His teammate Dutch Fanatics is the pink. Whitesider in P5, he's on the 3rd row as it's 5 lights, now lights out. Away we go from the line, and Sot is going to hold on to the lead alongside the Ferrari of Thax. So both drivers running into turn 1 right now, followed by their teammates. So it's Dungeon, Pedro, Wisai, and Beastable. Those 4 behind. The top 3 rows, all with good drivers. There's already a spin into the wall. We missed it, and you wouldn't believe who it was. Wisai in the wall. He's out. He's out. Wisai's out. In turn 1 on the 1st lap. The Ferrari is out of the race.
Let me check the percentage. Oh, it's fine. The percentage is fine.
It was him. He loses traction on turn 1. It was not a weather issue. It was him. He bends it over the curbing.
Yeah, there was a weather issue. Oopsie.
That is insane. that could be the difference, because now, unless something happens to Salt and Dungeon, they are going to be the front runners for this championship. That was an insanely catastrophic error for the Ferrari driver. 2 races to go in the season, and on the first lap of the race, you send it into the wall. You gotta be kidding me right now. Gao is leading the race. Gao and JCK out front. When's the last time you've seen a Red Bull lead this race? They're leading for now because they are the 2 drivers out front that are actually on slick tires. All right? But that's going to come back to bite them in a moment. Sod is all the way down now to P3. In fact, he's under attack from Cookie Trooper. So Thax and Dungeon kind of chilling behind them a little bit. Another 1 second, beyond 1 second. Behind Sod. Ooh, look at that. Into the wall goes Gal, struggling with the conditions. Sod back into the lead. He makes the overtake on Cookie. So now the slick's falling off maybe a bit faster than they expected. Gao into the wall, almost through 2, but he saved it. Good from the Aston Martin. That was a great save. Again, catastrophic what happened to the Ferraris. This race is almost entirely flipped on its head. He was P5, looks like would at least be able to have some damage limitation, give himself a chance at the end of the season. But now Sod is pulling away, and if Dungeon can't recover fast enough, he's going to be losing time to Sod every sector, as Dungeon is already 2 seconds down. Sod on the exit there, going a bit wide, readjusting. Now onto the front stretch again. Gao dives into the pits. Gao coming into box. Cookie stays out. Thax moves up now. Thax, great pace from him, now on the inters. So, maybe getting some vengeance for his Ferrari teammates. Sot and Thax out front. Sot leading through the first couple of corners. They're into the sweeper.
How's he out? Mercedes driver was out. Pedro.
When did he just do that? Pedro out again. Pedro is out again in the first stint of the race. This happened last week. Him and Crackdev walk out the front row, and then bad luck just seems to be following him since he made the team switch. So Pedro out. That is 2 big names out for the second week in a row. Pedro and Wisai in the first 3 laps. Insane stuff. Cookie Trooper under attack from Dungeon. He's going to get by. Dungeon Fanatics into P3. Damage limitation for him. He fell all the way down the order to 6th. And then he's made it back up into P3. But he's got 3.5 seconds between him and his teammate out front. And there are no formalities at the moment between Sot and Dungeon Fanatics. Championship on the line. What are you going to do? Now Thax running P2. Thax wanting to haul as many points as possible. Again, he's got a couple wins towards the end of the season, but he hasn't been able to score consistently enough to put himself in the championship fight. However, he's on great form as of late. Can Thax chase down Sot for the lead right now on lap 4? It's Alpine, Ferrari, Alpine, then Aston Martin, then Mercedes. Beastable running very well right now with his new team, as he was recently signed to Aston over the weekend. So good stuff from Beastable, sitting P4 right now, chasing down Dungeon Fanatics. Sot 85 continuing to lead out front. These braking zones, of course, can get a bit trickier with the weather. You do train for it, you race him for the inters. That doesn't mean that it's still going to be cut and dry just because you put in a couple of race sims. There's more things to account for. There is that wheel spin on the exits when you floor the throttle. It is controllable in the 25 car, but it can make a difference in tenths for these top tier league racers. Now Sot out front with a consistent gap of 1 second. So the rest of the field now, you can see the track condition worsening live in front of us. So Wisai now reporting to the media, and we'll get a update from him in just a second. So apparently what happened to the Ferrari on lap 1 into the first corner was He hit the curb. Of course, Sochi turn 1's curbing is one of the highest in-game. And bottled the car. It spun out. I saw it live. Put it straight into the barrier in that runoff they just passed. And just like that, race over. So that might be championship lost there for the Ferrari driver. And that is another incident at Sochi that has ended in catastrophe. AWC Season 5, we'll remember. Now Sod 85 under pressure from Thax. Gal, who was leading the race momentarily, is now 30 seconds down. So you can see that it was the wrong strategy. Thax there, looks like picks up a slowdown. He's gonna fall all the way down. Now Dungeon propelled into P2, still chasing down his teammate. Thax gets a very, very badly timed slowdown. And now he's going to have to wait for the rain to thin out to show off his pace on the slicks, which can be argued is the best out of any of these drivers. But now Dungeon Fanatics up into P2, so this is good for him if he can extend the gap to Thax while the rain continues. But more than anything, he's got to catch down Sot here. So Sot up front, Dungeon continuing to follow. We'll pull up the sector times in just a second. Dungeon losing 2/10 through Sector 3. Dax, though, sets the fastest Sector 3 of anybody on that lap. So, unfortunate what happened, maybe. After that incident, he has decided to lock in as he was a 10th faster than Sot through 3 and set to purple. Now Sot still out front comfortably. Rain starting to disappear. Now you got to start thinking about boxing strategy. The 2-stop would make sense. So with the 1-stop, you could theoretically go to the end on mediums or hards. But race simulations over this weekend have shown, for these cars in specific, it seems like the 2-stop is favored. You get so much more pace on the soft tires. I would be surprised if Sot or Dungeon, who are now the 2 main front-running championship contenders, don't go to the red tires. Thax now 5 seconds down to Sot, so losing even more time here. Beastival currently chasing down Thax, so they're coming through Sector 2. Now the question is, what lap do you decide to box? As the ring starts to thin out, that can be the difference between a second loss or a couple seconds gain. Sot stays out. There's Dungeon, Thax, Beastival, all staying out for now. Window's going to open over the next lap. Next 3 to 4 laps for sure will be a good time to box. So it's down to the decision of these drivers and their race engineers as you start lap 7. When you come to lap 8, it's already going to be a third of race distance here. Sot over the curbing cleanly. Beastival chasing down Thax right now. And much worse corner there for Beast compared to Thax, who's going to continue to open the gap now into the straight, where momentum on her entry into that straight matters so much. Dungeon is still somewhat holding on to that gap, but he is consistently losing a tenth or so. He's just in range enough he can challenge for this win if he's going to be better on the slick tires, but we'll see. Dax has cut the gap down by over half a second over the last lap. And Beastful losing a lot of time, like I said, so the gap between Beast and Thax has opened up. You can see it visually through 2, and the rest of the field right now kind of just chilling. Crackdev was on the pace for a little bit, now he's fallen off. He's 11 seconds down. Cookie Trooper running in P6 and Gal P7 with JCK in P8, another 10 seconds down between him. Here comes Sot into the pits, first driver to react, Dungeon behind him. Thax, ooh, you should have seen that late lunge from Thax to get into the pit lane.
Oh, he's
lost about half a second. He made a really late lunge, so he was gonna stay out, saw the other drivers coming in, and then just absolutely slammed on the brakes, still made it to the pit entry, but that's going to loosen time. So that may be enough to catch a Beastful back up to Sot, and you can see now they're side by side after the gap had been extended over almost a second between those two. Now Sot and Dungeon, a slow stop it looks like for Sot, as Dungeon has gained like a second and a half through the pit. Now he's going to lose maybe half a second, as he ate that curb. The same curb that killed Ysai, of course, in turn 1. But you can see both drivers choosing the soft compound. Like I said, it's going to be the faster strategy at the end of this, confirmed, to go for a 2-stopper here.
Cracked on the hards.
Cracked on the hard. If he understands that he may not be able to race the top 4 to the end, then Kraktev could easily control the top 5, final top 5 spot here.
3 drivers on hards.
Kraktev just got a slowdown. Oh my gosh. The second we look away, Kraktev picked up a slowdown and he lost 3 seconds of time. Beautiful rockets up in the 4th. Thax down by a lot now to the Alpines after that shenanigan. Now, he would have lost way more time if he had stayed out another lap. Dungeon with a slowdown! Oh no! Dungeon with a slowdown as well! In 3. Things continue to develop out front, and the gap's going to be 5.5 seconds to the line. Maybe a bit less, but it's going to be a lot.
Why don't we calculate what the standings are at the moment? So Ysai would get no points. He's not in the top 10, so he would stay at 109 points. Sot, if he wins, he has pole position, so he has 17 points. So 107 plus 17, 124. Dungeon, he's in P2. He has currently the fastest lap, and that's 13 points, I believe.
Does your voice come across in the commentary video, Max?
No, my mic is muted.
Okay.
That's only coming.
That's why I was talking over you.
Like, no, I'm just giving you information. No.
Yeah.
So 121 points for Dungeon.
At this position.
So
someone else is going to set the fastest lap because we're on soft, and they're going to box again. 100%. Someone's going to set it.
So a 15-point gap between Sot and Ysai if it finishes like this in this order.
He needs Sot and Dungeon to DNF next race.
Or be under P3 maybe.
Yeah.
Sot has that bonus point already.
Yeah. Okay. Dungeon Fanatic sets the fastest lap with a 123.645. Great pace from him. Now that slowdown really bit him in the behind, as he is now almost 4 seconds down to his teammate, but closing in again. So if he doesn't pick up that slowdown, he's probably alongside Sot, if not trying to pass him right now. So it shows you just how much that consistency, that being able to avoid those slowdowns matters, even if it loses you a 10th of a lap. Sot sets a purple sector 1, Dungeon sets a faster purple sector 1. Of course, the game not registering it fast enough because Dungeon is behind, so he's 2/10s faster through the first sector. And we'll get the sector times out of 2 as well. Thax kind of out of the picture now. Again, unfortunate what happened to the pit entry that we missed, but through sector 2 again, Dungeon Fanatics a 10.5 faster. Beastable, 2 invalid sectors on this lap. P4 right now is Beastable. Did Thax disconnect? Switch to Thax. What the fuck?
What's happening? What happened? I didn't go to slowdown.
I swear, Beastable just went past him. I don't know if that was a slowdown or what that was. He had 2 greens. When he crosses the line, does he have a red 3? Does he have a red sector 3? I completely ignored the fact that there was a fastest lap there.
Oh!
He didn't have an invalidation.
Cracked up DNF.
Crack into the wall in the straight. No, the Mercedes is forever cursed. That is the second week in a row that they have both DNF'd. Oh my gosh. They put themselves in the front row. They put themselves in contention. And the Mercedes, for the last 2 weeks in a row, have both crashed. Not just the North Tower, but the South Tower. Both of them. Oh my god. I don't even know what to say about that one. Mercedes will not be happy. Oh god. Thax did not invalidate the last lap but he decided to go ahead and park the Ferrari like a bus in Sector 3 for some reason. And I feel like it could have been an internet issue. I'm not sure. Or maybe his guardian came in and yelled at him as Thax just hit the wall. Oh, we're missing so much Thax action. He is losing so much time. He's 20 seconds down to the leaders. So you can count him out of contention for now. As a red flag looks unlikely. Sot and Dungeon, meanwhile, continuing to fight out front. So those two drivers competing for that extra fastest lap point at the same time as they go around here. Right now, Dungeon has it with a 122.3. So consider that that's about a second off of quality pace. That is insanely good race turn pace from Dungeon Fanatics. So Beastival is now P3 and Stax is going to be 6 seconds down to him as the rest of the field seemingly does not exist right now. As almost halfway into the race and Hype is a full minute down. Okay, I will admit, there is an insane battle going on right now between JCK and Gao. So the battle of the 6th versus 7th right here. And the Aston Martin is in the tow on the run-up into the first sector. And they both avoid the curbing, and that can tell you that's the difference between 3/10 gained or a DNF right there, depending on how that curb treats you. Random RNG, of course, into the braking zone here. And, oh, look at that! JCK into the wall! The bad luck continues around Sochi for these drivers. Holy crap. These curbs are unforgiving. Lap 13. Only 2 drivers still on the pace and everybody else is just trying to survive. It's survival in Sochi.
It really is.
You only have almost half a field right now on the timing board, and yet this race is critical in terms of how the season finishes. So, I don't even know what to say at the moment. What are we watching? Dungeon Fanatics loses time to Sot through the last lap. So again, this is the battle. Dungeon and Sot separated by 1 second. Dungeon would very much like to catch up, but Sot is just so consistent. In fact, I haven't really seen him get a single slowdown yet, but he did have an invalidation in 2, so it's coming. I guarantee you in the latter half of this race that he will get one. Solid D5 out front. Dungeon now back within 3.5 of the Beast Bowl, 22 seconds down. Thax catching Beast Bowl right now. So better pace on the softs for Thax. Over P5, JCK and Gao in the battle of the mid.
Oh, look at this.
JCK again.
Caught up to
Beast behind. I know, I just mentioned that. So Thax now puts a ton of pressure on the Aston, who would love a podium finish with his first race with the team. Shades of Alonso 2023 Beastival willing that Aston Martin up into the podium spots. Is that what? Dungeon Fanatics, why is he sitting still? No! Please!
Disconnected.
Dungeon Fanatics is out of the race! He DNFs! And it's through no fault of his own. What happened to Y-Side was his own fault, but Dungeon simply a victim of happenstance there. No luck for the Irish. That is even more of a catastrophe. That is a full travesty for that driver and for his mentality coming into the final race of the season next week. I mean, it puts him almost equal footing with Y-Side if he holds on to that fastest lap point, which he still has. But now Sot is going to be gone. This race is hurting the hearts of so many of us as Beastival comes into the pits. And, oh my god, and no offense to Sot, of course, he's driven a brilliant race out front. Absolutely insane pace from Sod 85 in the Alpine. And if he is going to win the championship next week, he will be deserving, as he has been incredible all season as he finally picks up his first slowdown. But guess what? Now it doesn't matter because Dungeon is just gone. He's not there. I mean, technically, I don't even know. Sod 85 is gonna cruise. In fact, Sod 85 is going to put his car on cruise control, say, all right, AFK, and go fix himself a margarita. He's gonna sit back in this little lounge chair on the beach in Tahiti and just absolutely enjoy this moment, because there is no one at the moment that can challenge him for this race win. Thax is just nowhere to be seen. And he just cut a corner and got a slowdown. So this is tragedy. What happened at Sochi?
Alright, this is a good result for Red Bull. They're 4th and 5th. You know, good for them.
What is the statistical likelihood that Cookie passes Beastable for P3? You want to bet on that, huh? Let me know.
He did almost get a podium in Vegas, but Gao bit him to the line. How do the standings look after Dungeon's DNF? He's P8. So he would... Oh, let me see how many points P8 gets.
Maxie, when the race ends, I'll kind of do like a little overview of what we witnessed. You should put in. Because this race honestly is pretty decided. I'm not gonna lie.
Overview is
not going to wreck.
Oh, okay.
No,
I mean,
like a summary, like you know, like how when Crofty and Coulthard are like debriefing practice sessions and they say something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright. So on to lap 17, Sot 85 cruising to victory right now. He is on the Royal Caribbean cruise right now, sailing to Perfect Day at Coco Cay with his 2 children, and they are enjoying the Caribbean weather right now. In fact, after this race, he is going to go downtown Nassau and eat at a local Latin American restaurant, have 3 empanadas, then he's going to go play baseball with a bunch of Dominicans. Absolutely nothing can touch him right now, and this could be the difference in the championship because of the fact that the other 2 contenders both DNF'd, and of course at Y side on the first lap, that was his fault, and then Dungeon simply struck down by the racing gods. Thax not catching, not losing time, what could have been for the Ferrari driver if he'd been able to stick it out in both strategy terms and just a couple of mistakes. Those slowdowns, they add up. 2 slowdowns, 7 seconds lost, adds up real fast for him. Beastable is cruising right now to P3. It would be a great result for the Aston Martin team if Beastable brings home 3rd, as Sot comes into the pits for his 2-stop strategy.
Is it enough?
So choosing now to go to his next softs. Next pair here. I'm not sure if Thax boxes this lap or not. He can go around again.
Is he gonna catch
now?
Sot?
The crazy idea is if Thax activates his tire wear exploits, which he doesn't have, by the way, I'm not accusing him of that, but if he were to somehow maintain the same pace as Sot to the end of this race, maybe he could catch him. It's not happening. Thax has to box again at some point here, and Beastable will probably have to as well. As he wants to go to the end, and he could, as he has a nice buffer right now to Cookie. Cookie, of course, on the medium, so Cookie probably planning for that 1-stopper. JCK and Gal, the battle of P6 and P7 that we saw earlier, now of course running 5 and 6. They're just kind of chilling. You can see JCK making his way out of the corner, and there's Gal in the far distance, 5 seconds or so between them. And of course, Hyper, the final car on track, the AlphaTauri, which engaged in shenanigans around Monza last week. If you'll remember what happened in qualifying and bended into all. Him and his teammate, but a P7 is a good result for their team. As now, on lap 18, you've got 8 racing laps to go. Gap between Sot and Thax. Is it actually 4 seconds? It's probably a bit further than that. Thax needs to come in. He's boxing. So the Ferrari into the pits. Now here's the kicker, okay? So Beastable is on medium tires. He's going to the end. Thax is going to come out on the softs, but he will be behind Beastable. Why is there an Indy car in the pits? Oh my god. Look at Thax. Look at Thax, Maxi. Oh no. What happened? Does anyone want to tell me why Sot 85 is P2?
I'm sorry, what is happening? Is there a bug? Thax, why is Thax? I think Thax might have bugged the board. Thax might have bugged the board, he's just stopped. What's happening?
Were you AFK? There was an
Yeah,
Indy car doing donuts in the pits, and then Thax came into box on 18, and then Sot is just gone down the road. He is P1, he's the rightful P1. And Thax makes his way out, and or he's sitting in the pits, and then he's like crossing back and forth on the line. And now he's technically leading the race. What? He's not leading the race. Okay.
Oh, it's not bugged. It's fine. We'll just restart it. We'll just continue to the red flag.
A 5-lap sprint.
Yep. 5-lap sprint.
As Sot flipped in sector 1, by the way. So. What is going on? What is Sochi?
It was bugged, but then it got fixed, and then I just noticed it too late, and then it fixed itself.
Yep.
So now we're just gonna continue with the red flag.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we're gonna continue with the red flag so we don't do any dumb stuff. It's a 5-lap sprint. I'll just get the order from what it was before the bug.
It was Sot, Thax, and
I have the-
Beast,
I
but
have
Beast
to-
was
which is-
overtaking him. Beast was overtaking him because Thax was in the pits. Cookie was behind.
And did he manage to overtake Thax?
When you flew the red flag, yes.
Ah, no.
YSI is asking to rejoin.
Do we rejoin? It's pretty dumb. You don't rejoin. It's pretty dumb to do it.
Okay, what's in the rules? Have you allowed it at all this season?
Let me check what's in the rules. Whatever is in the rules, it will be like that. So let me check the rules.
If it's not in the rules, they can technically
It doesn't... I don't see anything.
Dungeon should be allowed to rejoin because he disconnected, yes? Even if you started at the back of the grid.
I mean... Do I allow... I mean, it would be unfair for Sod and the others.
Why don't we ask Sot? Why don't we ask Sot?
It could be a... Yeah, it's not stated in the rules, so I'm gonna allow rejoins. It's not stated.
Okay.
So I will
Dungeon and
allow
YSI, Pedro, all back into the race, but you guys are at the back of the grid, so
I saw it in the VC. I need to explain this to Sod.
get him in.
Yes.
That sucks.
Yeah,
Okay. When give it a second, Maxi, and then I'll explain it for the video.
I need to do 1,000 things, sorry. I stated in the rules. No, we'll continue with that.
But I think personally, if you're gonna let them rejoin for 5 laps, he's starting anyone in game after the back.
Yeah, we will.
In game, not like one that we have. I don't know. It's like a pit lane start. You could force a pit lane start if you wanted, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's not stated in the rules, so I am obviously sorry for the people that. It's obviously sorry for the people that get messed up by this. It's not clear it's stated in the rules, so that's why I'm allowing it, which it will be fixed in the season 3 guidelines.
Is this Abu Dhabi 2021?
Michael Massey.
But oh, very good, man. I don't know what's going on.
Either way you do it, people are going with Ryan. So it's your call.
I know, but it's just kind of ringing. I know it's.
It really sucks for Sot because he didn't fit it, and he raced better than YSI thought.
I think the decision of not doing the red flag would be better, honestly.
Yeah, but you flew it, which is the problem.
No, I know. Ending it and not continuing it, not continuing the red flag would be. To not continue would be a bit better, but it would suck for the others. I think just ending it would be better because it got bugged, but then it got fixed, and then I realized too late, and then it just messed up. Messed up.
Finish with the race results before.
I don't think we're doing it.
It would definitely be fair to Sot and facts at least.
No, we're gonna continue with it.
I'm gonna go racing.
Yep.
Going racing.
It's just.
Alright. Activate commentator. Change of events. Because it was not clearly stated in the rules, after deliberation, the FIA has decided that those that DNF have been allowed to rejoin the grid, which means Dungeon, Y-Side, Thax. Well, Thax is not at the back of the grid as they get away from the line, but Dungeon and Y-Side are back in the race as there was a car doing donuts behind them.
Yeah.
Now Sot is under pressure. So the man that has driven the best race out of anyone now has to contend with a bunch of other drivers he thought were already out of the picture. In a 5-lap shootout, it's just like the public server, except every single one of them is on the pace. So Sochi suddenly could be the difference once again in what happens in the next race, but now it will be fought on the track, not with disconnects and first lap DNFs. It is suddenly a battle for the ages as Sot, who has held on this whole time, continues to hold on to P1. But here comes the rest of them. Y-Side's got a great start through the first 2 sectors. He's challenging Dungeon Fanatics up there as well. And Pedro and Crackdev are back. Crackdev, though, with a terrible restart. He will not challenge. Now, look who it is at the front. It's Thax. Thax and Beastival. Not losing positions. Thax into the lead.
Dungeon's gonna fly past his teammates. The 3 championship leaders in a full-on brawl behind, and Thax and Beastable into the lead of this race. Coming to lap 2, 4 to go. The Scuderia in the lead. Pedro into P3. The Alpines and the Ferrari chasing behind. That's the Ferrari of Ysai, of course, alongside Dungeon Fanatics. Sot gets the wing open. Who's gonna take the lead in the championship at the end of this, and who's gonna win the race? That's who I said what could have been if he had been on the slicks at a position where he doesn't fuck up the strategy, now proving that he has the pace in a 3-lap shootout on softs. Right now out front by half a second. Now a huge change in the order. Cookie's gonna drop all the way down. And you can see his name fly down the leaderboard as Pedro runs P2. Dungeon fighting there as well alongside with Pedro. Ysai and Beast behind him. Sot is definitely furious. He's gonna hate this decision. He feels like Lewis at the end of the 21 season as he's all the way down to P6, and I cannot imagine what's going through his head in the cockpit right now on lap 2 of 5. Following a red flag restart now. Double Ferrari pressure out front. Thax and Ysai attacking Pedro and Dungeon. That is the battle for the race win. So, is that a slowdown for Sot? Please. Oh, he's losing. Look at the difference. Crossing the line in Sot's P5. He's still in this race, but he's 7/10ths down. He's got to gain it back in 3 laps. So, this is, I know that the situation is a bit questionable, but this is the racing we live for. Look at the difference coming over the curbing, and it's going to end up treating Thax better than Ysai, as Ysai losing a couple tenths to the 2 race leaders. Dungeon holding on against the Scuderia right now. He made the overtake. He's in the lead of the race with 2.5 laps to go. Dungeon Fanatics and Thax almost side by side as they make their way halfway now around the racetrack for this lap. And is that another disconnect? Dungeon Fanatics! Dungeon Fanatics! Oh no! No! Dungeon has disconnected for the 2nd time, and once again, the racing gods simply say that it is not meant to be. Sot now attacking Ysai. Thax is fucked off into the lead, and Sot is back in the picture. Can he recover after a bad start at the beginning of this sprint? Now putting pressure on the Scuderia. He will have DRS. Next sector. Can he close up? 2 to go as they cross the line. The 2 Scuderias out front, and Sot takes the fastest lap. He is flying, but he's got more time to gain as the wing now open for Ysai as well. They're chasing down Thax on the soft tires. Thax unsettled. Here they come. 3-way fight for the lead. Who's gonna be last on the brakes? Sot takes the race lead for now. 50-meter boards past the curbing, and he's into the lead again. Now not so much. It's still a 3-way fight. Now it's Ysai, the Swedish driver, into the lead, 3 wide through sector 2. Dungeon is still sitting there. That is absolutely heartbreaking for him. Ysai, Thax, Sot, 1 lap to decide who will be the championship leader coming into the final race of the season between Ysai and Sot. It's down to them, and Thax is causing an issue. Now here's the question I posed in quali. If Thax is out front and Ysai is clearly P2 at the end of lap 5, does Thax hand Ysai the win for an extra 1 or 2 points gained in margin to Sot at the end of this race if he were to finish P2? Because if you give up the win here to Ysai, Sot will get by you. Ysai, why is he so far back? Why is Ysai? Oh my god!
He's still frozen.
He's still the P5. Sot, can he make it happen? He was screwed by the rules a little bit. Can he get by Thax on the last lap? Whiteside's falling out of the picture. No matter what happens now, as long as Sot doesn't wreck, he will be the championship leader in the final race of the season. But he needs this P1 finish to help put it away. Can he get by the Ferrari, who's making that car 3 hypothetical lanes wide right now? Sachs trying to hold on. As they make their way through Sector 2, Sot is faster, but does he have enough? It's half a car length, and he's inside 2/10. Pedro into the wall. Pedro has absolutely fucked it. Sot and Dax out front. Whiteside's gonna get past now. Chasing down Beastable. Dax runs wide, just a little bit. Can Sot get him in the last 2 corners? Here comes the Alpine. He's hunting. He's gotta get him in the last 2. This is it. It's gonna be a race to the line. It's gonna be tense. The Scuderia, the Alpine. Dax is gonna hold on, maybe. Yes! Dax wins in Sochi, and Sot brings it home too. Beastable brings it home P3. Whiteside recovers to 4th after a first lap DNF. Gal P5, JCK P6 beating out Crackdev. Pedro in Dungeon, basically DNFing at the start and halfway through this 5-lap sprint. And Sot, who could have won this race, finishes less than 2/10 down to the Ferrari, and he will be furious following this result. He will lead into Saitama. He will have the advantage by a handful of points. Whiteside got lucky. Pedro DNF. That moves him up to 4th. But what could have been for Sot if he had led by a bit more? And again, unfortunate circumstance, but when the red flag flies, it is final. And there was a good reason for the flag with the timing board issue, but this happenstance has caused Sot to lose out on the victory, and Dax showing his pace on the slicks when it mattered most. That's why you race till the checkered flag flies. You race with everything you've got. Sot 100% best driver today, but beaten to the line by Dax. 1 race to go. Who's gonna win next week in Saitama? Any bets? Don't put money on it. If you saw what happened today, you would definitely avoid doing that.
Let me see if I can bring you up on stage. At least see what we can do, because I don't know.